Welcome to the Lit Marriage Podcast with authors and Christian relationship coaches Cassidy and Daniela Parlane. On this podcast, you will discover how to transform your marriage from autopilot mode to keeping the flame of purpose, passion, and romance lit in the marriage that God designed for you to have. Learn to love intentionally together. Are you ready to keep it lit? Here we go.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Lit Marriage Podcast. We are your hosts, Cassidy
and Daniela.
And today, folks, we just want you to just sit back and relax. We want to talk to you today about a subject that simply is about arguments. And, you know, I don't know anyone anyway who has never experienced an argument in their marriage. Mm-hmm. Right? So today we want to
And if they do say that, they're lying.
Yeah, we all have had arguments, and some more than others, right? But we want to talk to you today about how to win an argument.
Win, like Trump would say.
Winning. You know, it's one of those situations where we all, as married couples, we go through this.
Yeah, I think the important thing is how we deal with it. How do we react when we're in that situation?
Right.
Because it's not a matter of if you're going to argue. It's a matter of when you argue. Now, how do you deal with it?
Arguments are inevitable.
Arguments, they actually make you stronger. Because
it should. Arguments should strengthen your marriage. You should grow from them. You should become mature in your faith, in your relationship.
It's very humbling, I find, because it's going to break you, but it can either break you in a bad way or in a good way.
Absolutely. But we want to talk to you today just from our hearts to let you know that you can win in arguments. Okay?
Just not in the way that you might be thinking.
Exactly.
Not in the competitive way, though.
Exactly. You know, you might be the one listening to this who you always have to have the last word.
If that's the case, this might be for you. Or maybe not, because maybe you thought, based on the title, that this was, how can I win? Okay. How can I be better at beating my spouse in the argument?
There you go.
Sorry, it's not that kind of episode.
No.
That kind of podcast.
That's the other one. But, you know, our take on this is that in order to win the argument, it's not just any one person winning this argument. It's you as a couple. You're
one flesh. So guess what? You win together. You lose together. You lose together.
Absolutely.
There's no such thing as one winning and one losing.
Exactly.
If you win and lose, it's like a negative. You're automatically the loser.
It cancels out.
It cancels the win out.
Absolutely.
Sorry, but
absolutely.
It does.
So, you know, for many out there who are listening, they're probably saying, yeah, my spouse and we argue all the time. And I just want to figure out how we can begin to win, because this is so important. And one of the key scriptures that we want to sort of talk about today this is from Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1, where it tells us this: a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger.
It's all about how you. So basically, yeah, it sounds like it's all about how you're communicating, not so much what you're communicating. Exactly.
You know, when we first started dating, one of the things that I struggled with sort of communicating with you, and communication is a huge part of arguments, okay?
Mm-hmm. Lack thereof.
Yes. You can't choose not to communicate in an argument.
Can't opt out of that one.
No, because again, for some, they have to get their points across. They have to get their, that thing off of their. So And then there's the other partner who thinks, I just can't be bothered. Listen, I don't want to deal with this right now. And for us, we've had those moments, but we've learned that we have to learn how to communicate and get the message across effectively, so that at the end of that argument,
it's a learning experience, really.
Exactly. There's a takeaway from that, and nobody will leave from that feeling as if they've been defeated. Right. And that's really the big takeaway from all of this today. No one should walk away from a conversation, from an argument, whether it's a heated argument or just one of those little petty things that you have from time to time. Nobody should walk away feeling as if they've lost that battle. And that's really what we want to get to today. That's the core of what we want to talk to you about. The Bible tells us that in Proverbs, that a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. So are you the type that goes out and out of the way to say words that are hurtful?
Yeah, like fly off the handle.
Yes. Do you say the first thing that comes to mind? Because that can...
Yes, being impulsive. That's something that can really get us in trouble. And I know I've talked about this before, but one of the things that I admire about you, that kind of irritated me in the beginning, but I admire very much, is just the way how thoughtful you are before you speak. Because I'm more of an impulsive personality. I like to just deal with things right away or say things as they come to mind. And sometimes it's not the best thing, especially when your emotions are heated.
Right.
It's better to actually take your time and think about how you're going to frame what you're going to say.
Right.
And I remember in the beginning, I wasn't used to how long you would take or how calm you would be before you would respond. And I'd be like, come on, tell me, like, speak, say something. But then I learned that, okay, he's being very thoughtful in order to use words that won't hurt me. So I've learned to really appreciate that and actually learned from that and try to apply it myself. I'm not as good as you though.
Well, we communicate differently.
Yes.
as men and women. We have different communication styles.
Yeah, and even personalities.
Oh, absolutely. Right? One of the things that I've had to sort of do in our marriage in the very beginning is where I had to say to you, please, just don't just hear the words coming out of my mouth,
hear my heart.
But hear my heart. And it's very easy for us to just hear the words and not hear the heart behind what is being said. And what I mean by that is, like, I would be expressing something to you and you might have been irritated about a particular matter, and because of how irate you may have been in that situation, you just couldn't hear the heart behind, or if I were, say, correcting you on a matter, right, or you just couldn't hear the just hearing the heart behind what I was saying. And that's definitely something that we have learned over the years in order to have better and more effective communication, is to really hear the heart of the person. Because God connected you to that person for a reason. There is a heart reason why God connected you to.
That's right.
And we have to discern the heart of our spouse.
And another thing I think that's important to keep in mind is don't always misjudge the intentions behind what that person is saying, or like don't think the worst of like you did this because,
right,
get past that and try to think of give your spouse the benefit of the doubt, like if they did something that really upset you, rather than like attach it to, oh, you did it because of this, like a bad reason, a bad intention. Try to understand that maybe the action or the behavior was wrong, but the intention behind it perhaps wasn't wrong.
Wow.
Or at least give them that benefit. And
the leeway, absolutely. It's called grace.
Grace. It's really grace.
Because that's the
forgiveness.
That is the
gospel. Have a heart of forgiveness.
That is the gospel. The real meat behind the gospel is the grace the Lord Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
And he's extended to us, and the marriage relationship is a reflection
Absolutely.
of the gospel. And so we are constantly demonstrating grace toward each other, and that is such a powerful revelation. When you get that, you will begin to flourish in your marriage like never before. It's so important as well, in addition to what you just said, to not attach past actions.
Yes.
So because you did it in the past and you've done it again, really.
Or an ex did it, so now it's like all men or all women are that way.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with the
Don't
present
categorize.
situation based on past
That's right.
emotions that that have not been healed, let's say. Right? And so it is important, going back to the whole idea or thought of grace, to truly leave space for error, mistakes. Your spouse will make mistakes. And though they are repetitive, this person, you've got to understand that when you demonstrate grace, that grace covers. The Bible talks about love that covers a multitude
of sins.
of sin, right?
And it's healing. Grace heals. So maybe that person has healing to do, and the more grace you give over time, it's going to help them heal those insecurities maybe that they have, or that whatever that pain was that they went through. And you're there to pour grace like Christ does with us. How many times has he given us grace and we kept screwing up? But then you reach a point where you've matured past that, and you're like, I don't do this anymore. Right? So some people take longer than others, and I know that can be difficult. We're all at different maturity levels.
Absolutely.
So,
but we pull each other along.
Exactly.
We complement each other.
Weaknesses and strengths.
Absolutely.
Where you might be weak, I might be strong, and vice versa. And what's that one principle that we put in practice that we found works really well for us?
Well,
if you were to give one good tip, what would it be?
For us,
for winning an argument.
Yes, for us when we are arguing, one of the methods and just sort of principle that we've found that it's worked for us. we always endeavor to use this, is that we always, in the back of my head anyway, I always think, if she is fire, I've got to be water. If he is water and she is fire, someone will quench the other, if you understand what I'm saying. So if I'm fire, sometimes I literally just physically come out and say, honey, you can't be fire with me. And so in her head, she knows right away, okay, I gotta be water. Or if she's fire, I know immediately. Somebody's
gotta decrease and somebody's increasing.
Right, because that's where grace comes in again. Because I see you being, emotionally charged about a situation, and as emotionally charged as I want to become, it doesn't
that's
help.
Only going to add fire to fire, and that never ends well.
No.
So this is something that we've really strived. We're not perfect, but we've strived to use this principle, and we found that for us, it really it works very well.
It certainly has matured us.
It does. It teaches. It's really humbling. It teaches you humility. It teaches you patience.
Right.
And it teaches you to maturity, big time, I think.
And it allows us to see our spouse through the eyes of Christ.
Absolutely, it does.
What would Jesus do, really? When you think about just the whole picture overall, right? And so, again, going back to the gospel, that's our marriage. Our marriage is a reflection of the gospel. And the gospel is good news, really, right? But there's some parts of the gospel that you gotta face, these realities that come up from time to time. And it's like these arguments, right? Where you gotta face them. And another principle that we use as well is that we don't go to bed angry. Going to bed angry?
Never.
No.
Doesn't matter how tense things could have been. It always has to get resolved. Even if you need a little bit, we're not saying, you don't cool off. Like maybe you need that to keep your fire from going even
But
bigger.
Don't allow things to go into the next day.
Yes, where
Don't
you have
allow
time to
it.
stew over it. It's even worse.
Because that's where the enemy plays with your emotions. And every time you are emotionally low, the devil always brings your weaknesses on a platter.
He does.
Oh, you better believe he does. So never allow yourself to become emotionally charged and emotionally weakened and drained, because that is a very bad place to be in your marriage. Absolutely. You know what? These are great tips, because we're not just telling you stuff that we're not doing, and we're not perfect. We don't always get it right.
No, these aren't textbook things. These are real life experience tips.
Absolutely.
Tried and true.
Absolutely. We could go on and on about this conversation too, but we wanted to do a very short podcast today to just really give you,
you could chew on it.
Yeah, something to think about, something to consider, and just to be a part of the conversation. Feel free to reach out to us. If you want the help to go through the process of marriage and being, to help you through these tough times.
For sure.
These tough times, because arguments can really be draining emotionally, physically, spiritually, and otherwise. And so, if you feel like you're struggling in your marriage right now and you need some help, we are coaches. We are open and available to help you through that process. Or if you know somebody who would benefit from this podcast, please feel free to go ahead and forward it, share it with your friends and families. And we look forward to talking to you again in another conversation.
Absolutely.
So until next time, keep it
lit.
God bless you.